You ever wake up to the sound of a bullhorn at 5:30 in the morning, lights blazing through your bedroom window, and think to yourself, so this is how suburbia does a home invasion? Me neither. Not until I bought the farmhouse. You probably think I'm exaggerating, or that maybe I'm the crazy one in the neighborhood. But listen, if you've been where I've been, lived through what I have, you know sometimes it's not the city that's the problem. It's the people who think they own it. I bought this place, 12 acres, an old farmhouse with more leaks than windows, and a barn that looked ready to surrender to the wind for one reason. I wanted out of the noise, the forms, the people who smile with their mouths and curse you with their eyes. Out of the constant tug-of-war with bosses and bylaws and some guy in a vest telling you how tall your grass can get. If you know, you know. 15 years in aerospace engineering. That's a lot of time spent inside boxes. Metal, concrete, cubicle. I was tired. I wanted aerial air under my nails, bruises on my hands that came from something I chose to build, not because of some deadline or spreadsheet. That's why I left the city. That's why I bought the land. County Road 14, just outside Fairfield, Texas. You could taste the difference in the air. No sidewalk, no city garbage pickup, no neighbors in sight except for the other side of my western tree line. That's where Hickory Ridge started. You know the kind. Vinyl siding, lawns so green you'd swear they were painted, and a neighborhood association with a logo fancier than most law firms. I didn't think about them at first. Why would I? My land was mine. I had the deed, the county map, the signed statement from the registrar. Hickory Ridge was over there. I was here. Easy. Turns out, nothing's ever easy when people get bored and start reading bylaws for fun. First thing that came was a letter. No return address, just a glossy oak tree seal. Dear resident, it has come to our attention that your property violates several Hickory Ridge community standards. Yeah, sure it does. Apparently, my goats were unlicensed, my barn was non-conforming, and the fence I put up to keep coyotes out didn't meet neighborhood aesthetic guidelines. I laughed, tossed it on the firewood pile, and got back to fixing the chicken coop. But a couple days later, a white Lexus rolled up near my gate. Sun wasn't even all the way up. I'm out there, boots caked in mud, sweating into my shirt, and out comes this woman's sunglasses big enough to land a plane on, clipboard in hand, walking like she owned the air. "Excuse me," she says. "Are you the owner?" I leaned on my shovel and said, "Yup. Can I help you?" She smiled, but it was the kind of smile you see on TV, right before someone stabs the main character in the back. Karen Slater, President, Hickory Ridge HOA. "We sent you a letter." I cut her off. It burned well on my stove. "Thanks." Her smile cracked a little, but not much. "Sir, I don't think you understand the seriousness." I stopped her again. "No, ma'am, you don't understand. I'm not in your HOA. My land isn't yours to manage." She left, but not before saying, "You'll be hearing from us again." You ever notice how threats get more polite the more powerless the person feels? It's like a dog growling behind a fence. Over the next week, weird things started happening. Sedan parked across the road for hours. Drones, small and quiet, hovering over my barn. One day, I shot one down legally, mind you, under 400 feet. I hung the pieces in a bag on my gate. Someone started posting on Nextdoor about unlicensed livestock operations and questionable activity on the Anderson farm. That's what they called it. Like I wasn't real. Like I hadn't just poured 5 years of sweat into this dirt. Still, I figured they'd get bored. People like that always do, right? Only I was wrong. Way wrong. It's 5:39 a.m. when the sirens start. Bright lights, bullhorn. Come out with your hands up. I'm standing on my porch, flannel pants and boots, hands in the air, thinking this is it. This is how suburbia eats its own. 2 deputies, one behind the car, one halfway down my drive, flashlight aimed at my chest like I'm packing heat under my bathrobe. "What's going on?" I ask. "We got a 911 call armed trespasser on this property." I laughed honest, can't help but laugh. "Trespasser owns the deed," I said. "Name's Ellis Brooks." After some back and forth, I showed them the papers. License, tax, deed, the works. Ames, the tall deputy, started to relax. Ridge, his partner, not so much. They explained a call came from a resident. In Hickory, Ridge claimed a man in flannel and a gray beard was acting suspicious. So me basically. She insists your land's part of the HOA. I snorted. She insists a lot of things. Did she mention the trespasser was carrying a bucket of goat feed? They didn't answer, but I could see the embarrassment. I took pictures of everything, cops, dash cams, the works. Because in this world, if you don't record it, it didn't happen. After they left, my goats started bleeding like I owed them an apology. Coffee was cold, adrenaline still humming in my teeth. I called my lawyer, Sarah Morales. They sent the cops, I said. Called in a fake report. Said I was an armed trespasser on my own land. She paused. That's not just overreach. That's criminal. The next letter came 3 days later. This one was thicker, stamped, and so full of legalese it might as well have been a dictionary. Formal notice of violation. Unauthorized commercial activity. Now, they were accusing me of running an unlicensed business because I sold eggs and honey at my little roadside stand. They had photos taken without my permission of Corso of me and my stand, plus a screenshot of my old Facebook post advertising zucchinis. That post. It was from last year, and I made about $60. Half of it went to the volunteer fire department. I called Sarah again. They're claiming my property's under consideration for annexation into HOA jurisdiction, I said. Total fabrication. She told me to hang tight while she drafted a cease and desist letter. I did more than hang tight. I put up new signs, private property, not subject to HOA. Trespassers will be photographed, fed to chickens, or both. Figured humor never hurts. But the harassment didn't stop. One morning, a blue blazer and a nervous-looking guy with a tablet showed up at my gate. We're here to conduct an inspection, she said. Not unless you want to be trespassing, I replied. They left unhappy. Sarah filed a formal request with the county. My land is independent. Any future harassment will be met with legal action. I thought that'd be the end of it, but it only escalated. Karen went public posts online, photos of my goats, stories about unregulated livestock, and noise complaints. People started whispering, looking away when I drove past. One woman posted, "Why does he need so many cameras if he's not hiding anything?" That's when I realized this wasn't just a paperwork war. Karen was trying to poison the well. I got tactical. Installed floodlights, extra cameras, kept a logbook, built a website, uploaded every deed, map, and recording. Added a Karen's greatest hits section video of her marching up my drive, audio of her first threat, courtesy of my doorbell cam. The site got thousands of hits. But Karen wasn't just mad. She was getting sloppy. I woke up one morning to a drone buzzing over the barn, then found a trash bag tossed into my field-dead chicken inside, dumped to look like it was mine. The cameras caught a hooded figure jogging from a white SUV. Same make as Karen's. Write down to her, be kind, rewind, or I'll sue license frame. Sarah called it intimidation, evidence tampering, and dumb as hell. We cut a video of her in action, titled it Caught Red-Handed. HOA President plants evidence. I posted it everywhere. The next night, someone cut my security floodlight and painted traitor on my barn door. Cameras caught a ski-mask teenager. I recognized the build a local kid Karen dragged to HOA events. I filed a report. Sheriff was polite, but nothing happened. So I upgraded solar backup for everything, extra cameras hidden in birdhouses, off-grid storage. Sarah started prepping a restraining order. Then the fire. Just after midnight, alarm tripped. Ran outside, fire at the shed, small on and gone, flames licking at the barn. They'd cut my water line. I used every extinguisher I had. Saved the barn, but lost the shed, some tools, and part of the irrigation system. Firemen came too late. The camera caught Ida, hooded figure, bottle in hand, Molotov. I knew who it was, but the sheriff couldn't do much without name. Sarah said, "We're not just getting a restraining order. We're pressing charges." Then we hit them where they live their insurance. We gathered all the evidence. Vandalism, fire, posts, the works. She filed for a restraining order against Karen and the whole HOA board, plus a civil suit for harassment and property damage. Karen tried to cover herself, posted a sad note online. Violence is never the answer. However, we must continue to uphold our standards. She locked comments within an hour. But I wasn't interested in Facebook drama anymore. I installed a backup generator, bought a second-hand water tanker, hired my buddy to wire the property for cloud sync security. Next time, I'd be ready. Sheriff Ames called me a few days later. They picked up Zach, the teenager, on a traffic stop Molotov residue in his trunk. Discord messages about teaching the farmer a lesson, name-dropping Karen from HOA meeting. The DA tried to call it a youthful mistake, but the evidence was clear. And now I had momentum. Sarah and I decided to go higher, not just after the HOA, but after the county itself. The real disease is in the system, she said. So we filed an administrative negligence suit. County failure to protect private property, enabling a private body to act as an unlawful government. Most people don't try because they're scared. I was already burned. Nothing left to threaten. Once we filed, things moved fast. Journalists started calling. Local TV ran a story in front of the burned shed, chickens clucking back up. Karen tried to claim I set the fire myself for sympathy. That backfired. People started digging. Cousin on the zoning board, brother-in-law in HOA contracts. Subpoenas flew. The county panicked, launched an internal review. They were sweating. Meanwhile, the farm kept running. The stand got busier. People wanted eggs and honey, but mostly they wanted to say, "We're watching." We're tired of this, too. Even Dennis, the guy with the golf shirts, brought me a store-bought pie. "Didn't know," he said. "Thought you were just a stubborn survivalist." But this is bigger. The county launched an audit of the HOA pool budgets, emails, meeting notes. Board members resigned. The Facebook page went private. HOA homeowners who used to glare started waving again. Ames, the deputy, came by to apologize officially. Didn't treat it seriously at first. That was a mistake. I just wanted change. And it started coming. Council proposed new ordinances. State AG board defended microfarms. I did interviews local, NPR, even a podcast with some rancher guy. One auditor even slipped Sarah a secret PowerPoint from a HOA retreat slide. 3. Neutralize opposition. Target outliers early. That was me. Karen got served with a civil lawsuit, personal liability for everything. False reports, harassment, enabling arson. Her lawyer tried to settle. Sarah said no. We wanted precedent, not money. The hearing was surreal. In a suit that didn't fit, watching strangers decide my fate. Sarah walked them through the timeline. Fake claims, drone footage, chicken dump, vandalism, arson, and Zach Shatlog's naming Karen. The defense wobbled, tried to say Karen didn't know. Zach acted alone. Then Sarah dropped the final piece. Karen's handwriting, a note, keep pressure on the perimeter properties. Fire may be metaphorical, but sometimes it spreads. Judge ruled in our favor. Karen, personally liable. Barred from any HOA board for 10 years. Didn't look at me once as she left. The HOA limped along, but residents filed to dissolve it. People waved. Dennis brought his son to feed the goats. The land was quiet, not empty, just free. And me? I kept the cameras, kept Sarah's number on the fridge. Most days I just worked the land. But one morning, as the sun broke over the field, I looked out, breathed deep, and thought, they'll never take this from me again. So, let me ask you, when is a rule just a rule, and when is it a weapon? Where's the line between community and control? I know where mine is right at the edge of this field. Ever had to fight for your own peace? Tell me what you do, because sometimes you got to be willing to stand alone. And sometimes, just sometimes, that's how you win.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.